The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Can't hear me too good at the moment. How's that? Is that better? What's up? Be good if I talked into the mic. What do you think? What a day. What a day. Kind of fit those texts I sent overnight this morning. You want to know what happened at 1 minute to go? Doesn't that just irritate the, you know what? I mean, it's good for our positions. But with 30 seconds to go, look what happened. Bang, bang, good night. And if you want to know what it was China. It was China. It was China again. It was something that Lighthizer said. Okay, that took it down. 200 points. S&P dropped 25 points. S&P dropped 200. Russell dropped 150. NASDAQ dropped 70. Not Russians yet. Could be. But what a day. What a day. Pretty much nothing, and a straight up rally and a break. But basically there was a straight down and a straight up. I mean, straight down, straight up, and then straight down again. Not a lot of trade in the middle of it. But again, it's good for our positions, so I can't be upset about it, except that I was going to carry a short position, and I covered like 2 minutes before. Goodness gracious. But it was wild. But of course, that's why I sent the text and the email last night saying, excuse me, don't panic. Don't worry about it. You'll have an opportunity. And that's what we get. Okay. And of course, there was chances, there was opportunities, and we'll see. We'll see what happens when they reopen again. I mean, they could go back up 200. It could be a denial of the denial. Thank you. Great communication. I try. But soon, we'll be going to no more emails, no more texts. We'll be going to, everything will be communicated on the website. Because now they're cracking down on doing text, and they crack down on doing email. Even though you opt in, it's a pain, and it's expensive, and I'm sick of it. So, but we'll get into that when we get it ready. Don't hurt why would I hurt your Twilio stock? I can't afford it anymore. You have no idea the cost to send text out. Nice. Good for you. Bought back the short put. I'll be the only one though. There'll be plenty still out there. They just raised their prices again too. So I did a good job with Twilio. I had you buy it at about 25 or 30. It's 130. I can take a little bit out of it from you. Now, how's that? Did you resolve your problem with the crooks? I can't repeat that. Well, that is one of the problems with a spread like that. They can manipulate the price. Now, I had my order working, and I got 113. Me, I know people got 130. I heard anywhere from 90 to 139. Okay, only one other person got what you got, 50. Okay. Now again, that's, you know, with a straight option, you could have a better case. They're gonna make it what they want. You know, you can try to put it together, but you know they are what they are. Well, you shouldn't be with them anyways. You're overpaying them, and so on and so forth. But anyway, who am I to say? But anyways, so it was wild. It was crazy, and it looks like there's more to come. Again, this certainly could be a buying opportunity. We were not surprised. As I said. You know, there's just a lot going on, and you know, I do think there's the highs are in or the tops in. Doesn't mean we're getting short. It just means I think the top's in, which I said last week. Pretty interesting day in oil as well. You see, oil opened down at 60.04, which was one of our targets. Okay, now look where it went to. Went all the way back to 63. How's that? So, you know, again, there's a lot going on right now, but there still is not, you know, there's still not a tremendous amount of volume. So it's still, now this was a nice volume day, but it's still not enough. Okay, we need some consistency of volume, and we'll see. Again, again, we're not in a hurry, because that's the one thing we want to continue to recognize, is that we have to be patient. Okay, if you're not patient, you get yourself in a bad jackpot. And speaking of a bad jackpot, just for those of you who are concerned, I had my shot today in my neck, and the last one took 3 hours, and I didn't get anything. This one took 25 minutes and done. I'll let you know. You won't know. Obviously, you can take up to 2 weeks. I still got the lidocaine in my back, so I don't know yet. I'm assuming yes. I've had it before. I know it's a couple $100. It's more than a couple $100. I bet you it's $1,000 a month you're wasting. Are you getting Thursday? Listen, you know what? I go back to the days. Good morning. I go back to the days when I had my first one. You had to go into the hospital, and you had to have somebody drive you. Now they do it with an X-ray, right on top of the spot. I mean, bang, bang, they go right to it. They showed it to me. But anyway. So what's going to happen with these markets? Again, I do believe that we've made a top. And again, it does not mean we're going straight down. I don't want anybody to think that. Well, that's the shots stopped working for me, which is why I had to have neck surgery. I probably had 50 in my lifetime. I've been having them for 30 years. You can go for 3 or 4 a year before you go for surgery. So I've tried. Again, there's just a lot of stuff out there, and obviously we'll get into it in the call as well, but there's just a lot of things out there that indicate that the end could be possibly near of this rally. And again, long term, we know the markets are going up higher, just maybe not soon. I've had better days, my friend, but thanks for asking. It wasn't a great day, and I had it called right, but of course I started to get active a little bit earlier than I probably should have after I said that we would probably see a rally. But, listen, that's life. My positions did good, so I can't complain about that. Just my active trading it could have been better. And the topper was I was short going into the last 2 minutes, and I was going to hold it, and I decided not to. So that's, as they say, that's life in the big city. Okay. Cannabis oil, I have not yet. You should have quit while you're ahead. Well, you continue to trade the patterns; they show up. Okay. Again, I'm not telling you to be active. I'm just saying. I think some guys are a little bit aggressive. Some guys and gals get a little bit too aggressive with these patterns. The anxiousness to want to make money, and sometimes they're not quite as clear as one might say. And again, I'm not saying you're doing wrong. I'm happy that you're trying, because you learn more when you're trying. Okay. So, yep, I know it's legal in Nevada. It'll be legal here too soon. So as soon as they figure out how to screw everybody and get the most tax dollars, it'll be legal here too. But again, you have to watch and observe and be patient on all your types of trading. Okay. Now again, I'm not unhappy. And I had an email conversation back and forth with somebody today. Oh, you're here. You are here about certain trades. And how'd you end up for the day, by the way, just out of curiosity? And he made the comment that he's not hitting over 50%, but yet he was still making money. I don't know if that's still official. Okay. But I said you may be a tad aggressive on some of the trades. But again, I'd rather you be aggressive and make the decision and learn from your aggressiveness, okay, than be too passive and miss too many trades down the road, if that makes sense. Down a few hundred after down 2,000. Okay. And you are trading a little bit bigger size as well than most. Okay. So again, I think it's important to understand, you want to recognize and go ahead and dive in when you see what you're supposed to see. And then you can then adjust your personality around what's going on. Okay? But, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of news that's driving the market. You can see how much the markets are on edge. And it's obvious. I hope this is obvious to everybody else as it is to me. Like I have said this from the beginning. The trade deal is priced in as it's a go. Okay? Because every time there's a little bit of bad news about it, look what happens. Okay? So, Bradley, what's up, my brother? And I know you're probably driving, so I know you want to answer, but that's cool. But every time there's a little bit of bad news about China, the market gets cranked. Okay? So that just tells you that they've already priced in the good news. Everybody's looking at new highs. Everybody is so bullish. I can't remember I've seen everybody this bullish before. Was short the YM at the close and was stopped by one tick, I would have had. Yeah, of course. Actually, with your recommended trades, I had a real good day. Yeah, again, my trades for our normal trades were good. My own futures, my own personal futures trading was a little hairy. Okay. And again, to top it off was the deciding to cover, okay, with 2 minutes to go, and of course we all know what happened. So again, it is what it is. I'm not, you know, it's part of the business. I mean, you know, that's why my company's name with the Badger, okay, is coulda, woulda, shoulda. I mean, that is true. That is CWS Trading. That is our name. That was the name of our stables. Okay, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Are you going to talk about micro futures? I'm not going to talk about them because they're not going to work. So anybody who trades micros, you'll see. I mean, I recommend people to try them to get their feet wet, but you're going to get eaten up by fees and commissions. Okay, you're never going to make money on the micro contracts over long term because you'll get eaten up by the fees. The same thing that happened with the micro options. Okay, they're trying to create a new audience. As I have said many times, that futures is the way to go. Okay. As you look at our futures portfolios, you can see that that's the way to go. If you look at our futures day trading, that's the way to go. But you can't. What are the fees? What are the fees after that, and what's it going to be when they get it liquid? Remember, okay, they got to make a market. They don't have a market yet. Okay, trust me when I tell you, okay, that micros are not going to be successful unless they reduce dramatically, and they're not going to, because the processors, okay, still pay the same amount to process. It doesn't cost less to process a micro contract as it does to do a major contract. Same thing, okay? All they're doing is trying to build in a bigger audience. Because why? Because they're a for-profit corporation that wants to bring in more money, okay? And I have no problem with that. I'm just telling you, okay, 50 cents fees, and a 9 cent commission today, only to create liquidity. I guarantee you that's all subsidized. Look, I hope it works. I'm all for it. I hope micro futures works, but I don't see how it can. Okay, because again, the costs are the same. Now, the actual cost of processing before fees is about 11 or 12 cents. That's the real number that it costs them to process. Okay, so they're doing it for 9. They're doing it under cost right now, which is fine. Okay. They're not the Ninja's not in business to do it for free. They're not in business. They're trying to create a whole new breed of customer. So once you're in and you like it, all of a sudden your fees go from 9 cents to 60 cents. Well, when you're trading a product that's worth $1.25, you lose the one whole tick just getting in and out. Okay. Again, just things to remember. Okay. There ain't no free lunch in this world. I have a question. So when countries are closed due to holiday or such, does it lower the average volume perhaps? It does in some cases, not in this case. Not in this market today. Not in our markets of recent vintage. It's more in effect when there's these weird holidays that come in, but no, it does not lower the volume because you know what? People trade anyways. Okay? You know, again, this is not, 1981, okay, where people didn't have a smartphone, they had to call their broker. People can trade from anywhere. They can trade from the beach. You got it, hola. Juan Valdez. So micros, look, I think I often recommend to people instead of paper trading, trade micros. At least it gives you an idea. But at the end of the day, I don't see how it can work because the tick size is too small and the cost is too high. And I don't know how you can get much lower than $5 on a profit side. Okay, again, in the Y Mini, okay, you lose one tick on a $5 commission. Okay, so you're break even. Your commission's around turn. So again, I hope it works. It's good for me, but I don't see it. Okay. But I know that Tasty Trade's trying to market it, and they've been talking about it. And again, micros have failed in every other direction, and they failed in the biggest market, the option market. So why would I think it would be different? None of you know this, but the futures market tried single futures on stocks back in the day. Okay, so we'll see. I can't say it won't work. I can't say it will. One tick on a micro, I think, it's 1/10, so it's $1.25 or 50 cents. Like the British pound is 63 cents. The euro currency is $1.25. What happened with stock futures? They went bust because there's not enough liquidity. Not enough liquidity and not enough action because people are going to trade futures. They're not going to want to trade for the dollar. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. I cannot say for sure because I don't know. I can only say that it is what it is, and we'll see. All right. Anyways, I think it's 1/10 is correct. $12.50 is $1.25 per tick instead of $12.50. That's what I understand. All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome aboard. Good afternoon. Good morning. Okay, to some. Happy. It might even be a good night for some. But in the meantime, welcome aboard. A crazy day on the street, but of course, we should have known, right? We had one of the worst Kentucky Derbies in history. I actually gave out the horse on Saturday. Maximum Security, who won easy, okay? And I saw the foul, okay? Again, I'm not saying that it was a foul, but there was an objection claimed or called, okay? There was an objection called, and all that means is that a jockey's issuing an objection, and it wasn't even the horse that was fouled who called the objection, okay? It was ridiculous. Now, fortunately, I had the winner. Okay, like I backdoored into the winner across the board. Okay, that was a nice little payout. But of course, I had a big exacta with the winner. I had the exacta before they took him down. Okay, but anyways, very, very, just very, very bad image for a sport that's already troubled. Okay, now last night I sent this out. Never panic and never let them see you sweat. Right, markets are getting hammered right now. Down 4.6. You do not enter any orders for tomorrow until I update. Do not panic. The sell-off is good for everyone's position. We have on. If you're hedged, you are covered. If not, relax. Don't panic because, again, you're most likely going to get an opportunity to get back in and take care of business. Okay, sometimes you don't, but again, you have to be prepared to allow the markets to work. Okay. My thoughts: the tops are in. I said it all. I agree with it. I believe it. Okay. I'll show you when we go through the charts. What will be the catalyst? Well, maybe it'll be China. I don't know. Again, I still believe there's going to be a deal. I think this is just a bunch of BS that's churling around, and we'll see what happens. Okay, the jobs number, okay, it's great, right? Big number. Now, again, is it real? Everyone wants to know, is it real? Well, I mean, it's real as far as the street's concerned. Okay, is it real as far as the Fed's concerned? It's hard to say. Okay, now I don't know about you. Okay. But if my wage and if I have to pay my employees more money, okay, then I have to raise my prices to people that I'm selling to if I have a product. Does anybody disagree with that? You're in business and you're making a product and all of a sudden your costs go up 20%, okay? Don't you have to raise your prices to make back that 20%? Does anybody disagree with that? Okay. So how is wage inflation not inflation? Are not the vendors and the people who are paying more wages going to raise their prices? Didn't Amazon already raise their prime price? Okay, so again, the Fed is always clueless. Okay, so but what can I tell you? Okay, but we always really start off with our words of wisdom from our friend Connie, and of course, knowing is not enough. We must apply wishing is not enough, we must do. Okay, and again, that goes back to what I was talking about earlier about the people that are trying futures. You put the trades on, okay, you enter, and if you make a mistake, you know you're getting out. Again, remember, we always know where our exit is going to be. And as long as we know that, then we know what our exposure is. And as long as we know that, then we can afford to take a chance here and there because nobody's taking massive risk. Okay. Now, I snuck in 2 bitches today. Okay. I had one, and then something happened, so I had to sneak in another one. Okay. So the first one was the ignorance of the Fed, which we kind of talked about. But again, how is wage inflation not going to translate into higher product costs? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I'm not saying they should raise rates, but to be ludicrous to be thinking about lowering rates again. Okay, when we have to borrow another $1 trillion this year, why don't they balance the budget? And that's not the Fed's responsibility. But of course, the Fed is tied to government. Okay, unfortunately, that's not supposed to be the case, but that is the case. Okay, like it or not, that is the case. But what really pisses me off, and what really got to me, and it happened to a few of you today, okay, is these brokers. Now, they're market makers, so if they can figure out a way to give you the lowest possible price in the field, they're going to do it, and they did, and it happened to a couple of you. And it's irritating, okay? And it just shows you that they don't care. That's why I don't care about the lower commissions, because A, they're working on the overnight rate, and B, they can take advantage of orders just like that. Now, maybe it was my fault for allowing you to put it in, but I've always been under the belief and have never had a problem getting filled on the opening prices, okay? So again, that's one thing that really irks my chain. And it's sad. Okay, that's sad. Okay. Anyways, all right. So let's get to work. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Now, Connie, I'm going to switch to the futures instead tonight. Instead of using the 4 indexes, I'm going to actually use the futures. It's the same for you, but just the symbols change. Okay, you can just put Dow futures. Because I think the futures are a better representation of what we're talking about, only because they trade all night. So they give us a better read of what we're looking. So my apologies to you, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So the Dow futures, or the Dow, okay. First of all, I think last Wednesday had what we call in the business a key reversal. Made almost a new high, closed on its low tick. And we've been struggling since. So if this looks like it could be a potential rounding top, it looks like we're headed lower. Now, again, I'm still not ready to sell. I still say to you, although we looked at 26.4 as a possible spot to bounce, probably 26,000 is a spot to buy. Again, I'm not a seller yet. I'm just assuming and feeling, based on the trade, that the top of the market can be in. Okay, so we're still, if you want to play on a longer term scale, you still have to be a buyer. There is really no need to be a seller here yet. Okay. So 26,000 we're going to call as a spot to buy on the Dow future if you want to get in. And I'm not saying you should get in. I'm just saying if you want to get in. Okay. The S&P. That's the mini ES, but that is the S&P future. Okay. And of course, we thought that, down around this bottom level was a spot to potentially buy. And here it is. Okay. Now, again, I would say probably 2,900 would be a place to jump in. That was right about the low today. And certainly, again, it's the same kind of rounding type action and a true key reversal on Wednesday. Okay, this did make an all-time new high and close lower on the day. Okay, now again, it doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. It doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, but that is what happens. So, but 2,900, we'd be looking to be a potential buyer. Again, I will not be buying there. I am long already, so I won't be buying any more. I'm looking for a confirmation to short the market right now. I don't have it, so I'm not going to short it for, on a swing trade or a long period of trade. I mean, in a day, obviously, I can short all I want. But when I go home, I'm going to end up being net long. Okay. The NASDAQ. November, Quebec, or Charlie Oscar Michael Peter, if you remember the old symbol. Okay. So we were looking at, we were watching the 8,100 on the actual NASDAQ. Okay, where is it? So it's at 81.23. Okay, now it did go obviously well below there and came back, but here, as we look at the future, I would say 7,700. Again, that's right where we went to, and we bounced right off it. Again, really, what are we in here? This is a little bit more bullish than the other two. This doesn't really have the new lows coming into it, the rounding top type. This is more flat consolidation. Okay, but again, I am still not interested in being a net seller yet because again, I don't see a reason for potentially selling because again, we could still get that one last yip up and why do we think that we're right and this has to be the time? And I don't want you to think that way, nor do I want you to have an opinion. I want you to let the market confirm. So we're going to say, you want to play 7,700, you want to watch, that's fine. When we get it, look, when I see it, I'm going to put it on a text, right? I'm going to put it on Bubba's Daily Update. I'm going to put it here. When I get it, when I'm confident that I think they're really in, then you'll get it from me. And of course, the Russell, or RUT, which we used to follow, or now it's RTY. But again, we thought that we want to be sellers somewhere about here. We did break out above it. And of course, overnight, obviously, it was a big winner, but nobody cashed. Okay. In the meantime, this is a little bit more bullish than all of them all of a sudden, because notice what's happened. All of a sudden, instead of making a rounding top, instead of making flat and making just consolidation, it's actually making higher lows. So again, this is one of the reasons we've been very cautious about being a net seller. Okay. Because again, what's the point? Do I prove anything by selling here if I'm wrong? No, I get stopped out and I have to find a new spot to enter. So it's easier if we wait and be patient to let the markets happen. Again, there's individual stocks that we can trade and play. So we don't have to get involved today. Okay, we don't have to be in a hurry because when it breaks, okay, again, this isn't going to be, we're not looking for a one-day wonder. Okay, we're looking for an extended trending market to the downside, very similar to the one we had to the upside. Now, of course, we all know the down will be faster than the up. It won't take 10 years, but we don't have to get in right away. That's the point. Okay, we don't have to be first. We just want to be right and lower our exposure and lower our risk. Okay, crude, nice little action. You notice got down to our target overnight, 60. Okay, now again, we weren't buyers at 60, but I thought we could get to 60, and we got to our top. So again, nice trading. Again, I would now be a seller at 64. Okay, possibly 63. Okay, again, I'm not buying. I would cover a little bit, but I'm not buying. Okay, again, I think the next time down, now you can look at this as the exact opposite. This is making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, now this had a lot to do with what's going on with the Straits of Hormuz and what's going on in Iran and them sending and the rockets right glare right. There's going to be a war, so that really put some action into crude. Okay, but again, it did not violate, and certainly the bounce was not really any big deal. Gold, golf, Charlie. Okay, continues now. This was again, if you're looking for things that would tip you off, so that the sell-off might reverse a little bit. Okay, it would have been gold. I mean, gold couldn't even get through our 1290 level last night. Okay, when the world was coming to an end. So if it's truly a fear asset, which I don't believe it is, but if it's truly a fear asset, why was it not exploding? Right? Why wasn't it 1300? Well, because it's not going up yet. That's why. So again, I think you want to watch the 1280 to 1290 level. Certainly, what I don't want to happen is I don't want to get caught in a squeeze where it goes to 1310 when you sell it at 1290. I think obviously I say this a lot. There's a chance for a big move. Okay, even if it's a momentary move, but it's big enough to puke you out. So it's easier to wait. I'd rather you try to sell at 1300 if you're going to sell it. Okay, I think that's a better spot. I think that's a better level. Bonds, Zulu Bravo. Well, here we go again. Okay, now we call them neutral. Okay, because I was worried about the Fed and I was worried about just this. Now again, I didn't worry about the thing, but again, now, okay, that I can see what's happening, I would be a seller at 149. Okay, that I would. Okay, because again, as I talk about often, the fixed income market being the biggest market in the world, okay, by 10 to 20 times, if they want rates to go higher, they're going to force these bond futures lower. Okay, so again, I would be willing to sell at about 149. Euro currency got underneath 1200. Now forming a nice another little pattern here. Okay, what's going to happen? Who knows what I'm going to say next? Somebody's got to know. I know you do. 149. Who knows what I'm going to say here? Big a move a coming. That's all right. Okay. Now, based on where it's been, it could be lower, but it could be either way. Okay. So now we had 113 as a sell. Okay. Which, if you were playing it, you got filled and you made money. But if you didn't have it, I'm going to go up to 113.50 now. Okay. I want to guard against getting short too soon if the first spike is higher. Okay. So 113.50. Okay. The 113 worked great. Okay. And we made money on it. If you took it, and I'm not saying everybody took it. So again, I don't take victory and take claims. I'm short the euro currency, and that's it. Okay. But I don't take claim or victory. I just want you to know that it did work. And I tell you when they don't work, I tell you when they did work. Okay. So again, there's a move coming. It could be up or it could be down. My longer guess is it is going to be down. Okay, because I still think the dollar is going to par. Which I forgot to do the dollar. Sorry, chops. Delta X-ray Yankee. Okay. So the dollar, okay, held nicely and is continuing to stay in its uptrend. Was up, it was down, and basically closed, I don't know, fairly neutral, I guess we'll say. I'd be a buyer of the dollar anywhere around here. I think the dollar is going higher because I think everything else is going lower. So that would be exactly what I'm looking about. Will the RSF repo swap facility cause the dollar to go lower against the euro and other? Not necessarily. Again, they can try all they want. They've been trying to get the dollar down since it was 88 cents. Okay, and we've been long it every day since. They're trying to put it down now. They just can't get it down because it's too strong. Again, it's another fear asset. Okay, so they can try, but they can try, but they can't do it. That's my opinion. And of course, we are staying flat and out of the British pound, although we do like it a little bit. But again, we're going to wait until this whole Brexit. Again, there's just no reason for a trader to get involved in the British pound because of what can happen in any moment where they make one announcement that spikes or breaks and you're stopped out because you're on the wrong side. So it's just easier to stay away from it from now. And the VIXy, well, had a nice little spike up, and notice, okay, we came up, we thought we'd get a pop in volatility. We did, obviously, like what happened. And of course, we went right to the upper end and came right back down again. So now, again, we can look at the VIX between about 13 and 18. Okay, and again, we'd still like to be buyers of volatility at some point here, and we'll continue to watch it. Okay, it's certainly looking a little bit better. A couple of big days over the last few, but at the end, we always end up in the same drudgery, in the same crappy spot. German car registrations fall 1.1% as global auto recession continues. Again, we don't care, right? We have voted by betting in the stock market that we don't care about debt, we don't care about sales, we don't care about anything. All we care about is when we took our iPhone or Sam, whatever phone you got, and you look at it, and you pull up your IRA, your 401k, which you shouldn't be looking at, and sure enough, it's going higher. Well, what the heck? I don't care. What do I care about any bad news? There is no bad news to the market right now. So again, remember, you're hearing all these things now. And again, this is not to tell you to get out of the market. As you know, I'm never out. Okay. But it's just to kind of show you clearly of how the markets work and how people think. Nobody cares. Nobody's worried about any of this. Okay. To me, this was a big red flag. Norwegian Wealth Fund made $84 billion last quarter, going all they're all in. Okay, with their entire fund, they're all in. Okay. Now again, if they were going to stay all in, I wouldn't care. But they're all in, making it play. Okay. So I wonder how they felt last night. Okay. I wonder how they feel right this moment. Okay. Now again, I'm not saying they're going to be wrong. I'm just saying when the exuberance starts to heighten, that usually gives you a message of something is changing. Okay. And we'll see. Again, we are not predicting. My only prediction is I think the markets have made a top, but that does not mean that they're going low. Barr launches wide revving probe into 2016 FBI spying. Don't you think we should investigate those people? And in all seriousness, I know there's left and right in this call, and probably more predominantly right. But I mean, I have this big argument going on my YouTube channel with some guy who keeps telling about, that, well, we'd be much better if Hillary Clinton was in office. Okay. And I don't know. I mean, again, she had a lot of dirty laundry, if I remember correctly. So don't you think we should look into what went on? Don't you think we should look into the deep state? And what's up, Senator? I mean, again, you tell me. I don't care one way or the other, but you tell me. I think we should. Yeah, well, that's what he said. Look, I had this big. Go to my YouTube channel and read it. You can read It's brutal. I finally said I can't waste my time anymore. I can't answer anymore. Jobs plus 263, employment 103, unemployment rate 36, lowest since 1969. Very good, right? Now again, what's that going to do? It's going to create bigger manageable jobs. It's got to create some inflation. It can't be just wage inflation. It's got to be inflation. Okay, but again, that's a good thing. Okay, it's good to have job growth. Okay, it's good to see companies have to pay a little bit more. Okay, and get rid of some of those the slave labor that they have. Okay, so again, it's good news for the market, but it is not necessarily good news for rates. But right now, it hasn't bothered. This is what we're talking about: the Fed's dangerous inflation game. Now again, we all know. Now again, this isn't me talking. This is not an opinion. This is fact. Okay, the Fed has never made the right decision in 106 years of how to adjust interest rates. Okay, never. Okay, which is why my guess is why can't we let the free markets decide what rates should be? Okay, why do we need somebody telling us what rates should be, what's best? Because doesn't the economy won't it work it out for itself? What's best for the economy? Okay, well, it is corruption. Yes, I get that. Okay, but wouldn't it work out better if we just knew what rates were and didn't have to worry about what the Fed was going to do and let the free markets decide rates? I mean, again, to me, that makes all the sense in the world. Of course, it's too easy, but of course, also don't remember or don't forget, the Fed won't tell you we had a recession until 10 years after it's over. And they'll go back, oh, yeah, we had a recession. Okay, great, good for you. Fed officials diverge on need for a possible interest rate cut. Now, this is one of the dumbest things. Now, I understand it from President Trump's side. Okay, he wants to keep the economy rolling for the next 18 months, right? And I got no problem with what he wants, but he's wrong. Okay, and he's not the first president to do this. Okay, let's be clear. Okay, almost every president has told the Fed something going back to Volcker. Okay, and Volcker was a man of his own. He just walked out of the room. Okay. But every president has been at the Fed because there's the big deal. It tells you that they're not a totally independent organization. Idiots in the Fed that's true. Never ran a successful business. Interest only issuance has skyrocketed. Was it time to worry yet? Again, interest only loans. Do we remember those? Interest only loans? We're back. Remember, history always repeats itself. Okay. There's a little bit something different that people don't recognize right away, but doesn't that strike? You tie it into all the other debt. Doesn't that give you something to think about? And I am not predicting doom and gloom. I don't want to do that. I don't believe in it, but I do believe in markets eventually will find a top, just like eventually they'll find a bottom. So again, just adding more fuel to the potential fire when something changes. Other VIX chart reveals the most important driver of long-term volatility. Any of you know what that is? Don't look at the chart. Don't cheat. What's the other VIX chart? Correct. The yield curve. Okay. Again, still inversion in the yield curve, and nobody cares. Again, because why? Why doesn't anybody care? Who knows what I'm going to say next? I know somebody knows this. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Why doesn't anybody care? I'm looking for those 4 choice words. This time is different. That's right. Okay. It ain't never different, kids. Remember that. Hamas launches nearly 100 rockets an hour on Israel in a massive escalation. Didn't we think that might cause a little bit of soften in the market today too? I mean, did we think that it was going to go unnoticed? Okay. Bail out the big voice. Bail out the big voice. That's what, of course it. The economy is roaring, so let's cut rates. Again, really? If it's roaring, it means we have more money. It means we want to borrow more money. It means we can build more, and we can afford to pay a little bit more for interest, not for taxes, for interest. Let the states quit raising the taxes, okay, and then they can pay more for interest. And I'm not an advocate because, of course, that we know who that benefits. But I'm just saying, I go back to you can borrow what you can borrow for. Maybe not that, but in sending an aircraft carrier to Iran probably did. Well, again, there's a bunch of things that are going on. Uber's big problem. It's a zombie corporation that can't make any money. I hate Uber personally. I've used them, and I still use them because they're convenient. I don't know how they're ever going to make any money. Does anybody see them making money? Now, again, I'm not saying they won't, because in full disclosure, I didn't know how Amazon was going to make it. Okay, Although we bought Amazon on this call in 2008, okay, at $30 and sold it in 2009 at 60. But again, does anybody see how they're going to make money? I don't know. The rich get richer when we print money. Why is that? Because the rich can borrow all the money they want. The poor, the middle class, got to fight for a loan, especially now with what? Liquidity's drying up again. Banks aren't in such a hurry to lend you money. I don't see how Tesla's going to ever make money. I agree. Okay. The banks won't lend you money, okay, but they'll lend the wealthy all they want. Okay. Again, liquidity is an issue. If you don't think so, just watch. Is there one held accountable? Uber is a phantom company. Look, I'm not in disagreement with any of you. I don't know. Again, I don't see how they can make money, but apparently, I'm way in the minority, right? There's billions of dollars invested, especially from the unicorns, all the other guys from the Silicon Valley stuff. One reason wages aren't rising faster, the gutting of middle manager positions, and of course they're getting. When you went to a bank 20 years ago, there was 92 vice presidents. There was 93 employees, but 92 of them were vice presidents. They're cutting out some of the middle class, so the middle workers. So again, I don't have a problem with that. Again, but I do see that's why you can say wages. They've cut down a lot of salaries. They bought more German print machines. Yeah, futures down again. A tiger gets his medal. Yeah, the futures aren't down, but they come back quite a bit from where they were. Okay, they're rallied back substantially. Futures plunge as Lighthizer confirms tariff hikes after China reneges on promises. And there it is. Okay, that's what we're talking about. And we have now actually rallied back a little bit. Okay, certainly well off of those over those. They ruined me. They ruined me. I have to do too many things, too many steps for Kelly. We've come back, 4 or 5 points. That was the low at the close. This move took 30 seconds. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's look at some stocks. Here's my chart I want. Okay. Apple. Alpha pop-up window. Okay. So last week on Apple, we said we're going to remain neutral at earnings, and they popped up nicely, and they're coming back down. And again, anything goes. This could have been a false breakout to the upside. Certainly, I'm not bearish, Apple bearish, where I'd want to sell it. I'm assuming that it's going to have some issues. It's down about $1.50 in the overnight. But again, I'm not really interested in getting short Apple. I'm not interested in shorting this pattern yet. Let it go sideways for a little bit longer, and then give me a top, and then I can look at it. But here, there's nothing really to do. I mean, either I buy it, and if I were going to buy it, it would be around 200. Okay. ABBV, Alpha, Bravo, Victor. And we said 77. Well, once again, here we are, down near 77. And again, I don't think anything has changed. I think it is 77 to 82. I mean, again, to me, nothing has really changed in this chart. Okay. Now, I guarantee somebody's going to look at it and say, oh, there's a head and shoulders there, right? And of course, you could make the case. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then there's a neckline. It's got to break this to be a true head and shoulders pattern. Again, I could care less. It's way too long of a pattern for me to even think about. And I'd rather just trade the short-term levels, because I'm going to get to the same answer, but I'm going to get there faster. Okay. I don't have to wait 3 months or 6 months for that pattern to develop. Okay. In the meantime, I'd be a buyer at 77, seller at 82. But I'm not a shorter at 82 because I own the stock, but I would trade it from 77 to 82. AMBA, Alpha Michael, Bravo, Alpha. So we said 46 to 52. Well, there's the 52, which was a couple weeks ago. But now look at what has happened here. Well, again, we're now getting into, let me clean this one up. A little too much stuff. Here, pretty simple. 52, about 48-ish or so. Basically, you just got a tight consolidation pattern. Again, I said I don't want to trade this one anyways. I still don't want to trade this one anyways. Okay, number one. Number two, it's stuck in a tight little range with no volume. So I'm going to be neutral. They got earnings coming. We'll see what happens. Again, I may take this off the list because at the end of the day, if it's not going to move and I'm not going to be able to trade it, it's not liquid enough. What do I need it for? Amazon, Alpha Michael Zulu November. neutral. And again, look at the trade action. Is there anything more neutral than that trade action? Don't get excited by the 30 and 40 point up moves or down moves. Okay. Remember, 30 points on a $1,900 stock, okay, is no different than $3 on a $190 stock or 30 cents on a $19 stock. Are we really excited about that? Okay. The numbers are just bigger. Okay. You're paying for that if you're trading it. You know, you're not getting that $30 for free. That's already priced in. Okay. I don't see anything but to be neutral. Again, you want to play this? You know, I'm not a big fan because it's really too big of a stock for most. But, you know, sell call spreads, sell put spreads. I think that's the best way to play it. Apache. Alpha, Papa, Alpha. You were neutral on earnings. Notice where it came down to. Amazing. It creamed. Look at where it stopped. Right about where it should have. Okay. I mean, again, this isn't the fastest move in the world, but I have no problem being a buyer of this at 30. Okay. I think it's 30 to 33 first. And if this Chevron deal goes through with Occidental or whatever, or who is it? Anadarko. Okay. Might mean something. Again, I have no problem trying to, I own this anyways, but I would have no problem being a buyer at 30. Okay. Bubba, I think they have earnings this week, yes? Next week. So Bubba, we went from potentially wanting to sell it, and we said no because it was kind of grinding higher, right? And of course, we got the big pop on Friday, and now we got the big drop today. And I think basically, you've got earnings coming out, and you've got this China. So this is going to be more affected by China than most as well. I think for the time being, okay, unless you know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly what you're trying to do, I think we should remain neutral here. And not because I'm concerned, but I'm concerned you can get yourself into a jackpot in a stock that is probably overvalued, not stock price wise, but option wise right now. And I think you're better off sitting it out for now until we get through at least earnings and the China news. But again, China news could go on forever. But at least, you know, you're fighting against two things, right? So I think sometimes it's better to pass than try to get too involved. Now, again, if you know what you're doing, you know what you want to try to do, certainly I would look at 180 as a potential spot to buy it. I might even look at 185 if I were to look, but I still see resistance at 190, even though we had a false breakout. So I'm not in a hurry. As you noticed the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks, we're not in a hurry to do anything because again, the market isn't giving us anything. You know, you could look at this as a potential, it could have been a potential blow off to the bottom. Look at the bottom. So I think you're better off being neutral. Okay, but the levels would be, you know, 180 to 190. Chrome. I guess it's going out of business. I guess not enough people are getting high yet. we were neutral for earnings. I think it's, again, I think it really remains 15 to 17. Now, again, I'm not going to short this stock. I don't short ever new stocks unless they're, you know, at like $300 a share, right? I mean, if they're big stocks, I'll short them on news because there's a lot more room to go down. But a stock that only shows me a potential going down if it goes to zero, I'm not interested because, again, I'm not saying this will happen, but this stock could be, you know, another chill rate type of, you know, it could go up to 100. Who knows? Again, I have no concept of how these guys get when they get nuts. I've seen it. I've been involved in it. Okay. So I'm certainly saying I would personally, I'd only be a buyer at 15. I already own it. I am not interested in shorting this here. Again, put it up at 55. I take a look, but put it at 17. I'm not interested, but it's 15 to 17 right now. Switch going to CGC. CGC. Might same similar action. I mean, it just had a little breakout. Look, we'll see. I like the inexpensive plays for some who like to play those. Facebook. Okay. So we thought 185 could be a buy. Well, of course, we never saw 185. So we've got this gap still unfilled. We've got a market now what? Consolidated. Okay. So again, is it worth it for me to want to be short this stock? You know, what am I going to make? If I sell it at 195, okay, I can see solid support at 190. If I buy it at 190, I can see solid resistance at 195. So do I really want to get involved in a stock that could be very volatile? Okay. that could have news at any moment that could change the dynamics and go down back to 120. Okay, when there's such a small range, and I have to really overpay if I'm going to trade the option market. So it's easier for me to say neutral because it really is solidly right now, at least for 8 days, 190 to 195. I'm sure this gap will fill. I thought it was going to fill today, to be honest with you. Okay. I thought this morning, before we turned around, that it was going to fill. I mean, we were down to 190, and it's not a far stretch to get down there. But again, I don't see a reason to get overly aggressive. Gilead, Golf, India, Lima, Delta. All right, so look, we thought 66 might be a level. Okay. Now, again, this goes back to what we always talk about. Bang, it gapped over 66, didn't come close to it, and went all the way to what? Our old target of 68. Pull back, and now it's back up to 68. Now here, again, I own this, but if you want to short something, this would be something you could look to short it. You've got a lot of reasons to short it. Somebody give me 2 reasons why this is a shortable stock at this level. 2 reasons. Everybody should know this answer. Somebody give me 2 reasons. Parabolic, number 1 is good. Double top, triple top. Okay, top is good. In the top, let's say the top end of consolidation. Okay, so there you have it. Now again, could it go higher? Of course it could go higher. You have to take a risk to do what I'm saying. But everything to me points that if I wanted to get short, this would be a play that I might want to look at getting short. Okay, why? Because everything favors at worst a pullback, and that pullback should probably be no worse than, let's say, 66, 65. So I could make a few bucks, and if it continued to break down again. Remember, when we call levels, let me clean this up too. When we call levels, okay, and we say that these are the prices, if I were to sell this, okay, at let's say 68, okay, then if it came down to 65, I wouldn't necessarily cover and go long at 65. What am I looking for? I'm looking for it to finish and follow through to the downside, okay? But knowing that if it does get down to 65, then I probably want to move my stop, but still give it the opportunity to break down. Good job. So 65 to 68. You could look to short. If you're looking for something to short, this is one to short. Google, Golf, Oscar, Oscar, Golf, Lima. Okay. So again, notice we had the big crush on the earnings, right? And we said, watch the 1200 level to see if it holds. It did not. Okay. But now, ever so slightly, Google is kind of going into a little bit of consolidation. So it's like, 1170 to 1200. Again, the way to trade this, if you want to trade, is sell call spreads, sell put spreads. Again, too big of a stock for most to be involved. Okay, but we cover it because it's in the news all the time, and it's a big stock that everybody knows. Many of you own it. Okay. IWM, India Whiskey Michael. Okay, so we thought 160 was a short. Okay, now initially, okay, the 160 level got there and failed. Okay, now again, if you got in and got out, and I'm not saying you should have or would have. We did say 160 to 155. But again, I don't make claims. I look at this as a losing trade because, of course, I was looking for it to continue to follow through. So now it's broken out. So now what do we do? Well, I think you have to now look at it from different eyes and say, okay, it's broken out. So what am I going to do now? Well, I think you have to now watch the spot to potentially be a buyer. I mean, the Russell made a hell of a move to, right? I mean, that was the biggest of all. It was down over 300 points overnight. Okay. And actually got to higher on the day. Okay. So again, I think you look at 158 if you want to trade it. And again, I'm not looking to get long, certainly not this. But again, I cannot fight the pattern that's being set there. This is a bullish pattern, if anything. It's certainly not bearish. Okay. So you're shorting because we've had a big move up and you want to try to short and it's gone away from the trend. Okay. But again, basically, I'm saying you're better off being neutral. Okay. And looking for a potential spot to buy. I don't care about engulfing. I don't know nothing from those patterns. Again, they don't work with Jack Diddley anyways. JP Morgan, Julia, Papa, Michael. Okay. So we thought we could be a buyer if it got down to 112. Never got back there. It's really just kind of churning. I think the top has been established for now, like around 117. I think you can still be a buyer at 112. I think it's 112 to 117. Again, this is a stock. One of the things you always want to look at, especially when times are very dull and very quiet and very crappy, basically, is you want to make the decision, does this stock give me enough action that I can really make any real money? Okay. That's one of the things you want to look at. Is there enough movement? As a rule, does this have enough movement for me to potentially make any real dough? Okay. So my words to you is it probably isn't in these conditions right now. Okay. But again, you want to try to build some credit and try to create some of those kind of positions. Yeah, that's all right. I don't cover those on this call, but I'll be covering Nugget in a moment. I mean, they're fine. I mean, they're. I'm not worried about them yet. I mean, we've collected a lot, and we're pretty much out. So, but I don't cover them on this call. I cover them Saturday. Anyways, LBS, okay, continues in consolidation. Okay, and we thought 66 could be a potential buy. Now again, I don't necessarily like the way it got there, but again, I could say, oh, maybe it's a little bit of a blow off to the downside, and it's bouncing back up. I think it's still 66 to 68 or whatever. And again, so to me, I'd rather not trade in that range, right? Again, one of the problems in a low volatile environment, okay, is I don't want to try to force volatility, because what happens in a low volatility environment is you die 1,000 deaths. It's like 1,000 paper cuts, because it just goes down. It just nudges a little bit every day. Your option or your stock just nudges against you a little bit every day. Before you know it, it's a loser and you're out. It's just easier sometimes to sit it out and watch. Michael Oscar. You want to get a buyer at 33, 34. Okay. No, we got there. Again, it looks better, but it really is what? It's 33 to 38-ish, basically. This is not what I would call so bullish now. Okay. It is setting up for a move. Okay. Now, again, it did make a relatively reasonable recovery from, this is a Chinese stock as well. Again, I own it. I'm not selling it. I'm hedged it. And I would buy more at 33. I'm going to make it 33 to 38. Again, this is one I will not short. I mean, I might, short it in some sort of a trade, but I'm always going to be long it anyways. Okay. MU, Michael Uniform. Okay. And here we are. Okay. So we're 42 to 44. Has anything changed? It is getting monotonous, right? The redundancy of it all is kind of scary, right? We keep saying the same things over and over every week. Well, again, is there anything for me to change here? Does anybody see a reason that I should change 42 to 44? And if you do, speak up. I mean, is there a reason? I don't think so. I think it's 42, 44, which would make me want to be neutral. Netflix, November Foxtrot Lima X-ray. And we saw 345 to 380. Okay, we got just over 380. Okay. Now, is it a false breakout? Now, again, certainly you know what I'm going to say, right? This is not what we would call a bearish pattern, right? This did break out of a consolidation range, right? The first time was a false breakout. This looks like it's for real. Okay, came back, tested support, and is now taking off again. So is this something that I really want to short or get short? The answer is probably not. Okay. Again, we have to remember, okay, that if we're, as they say, what was that, Star Wars? May the Force be with you. I'm not sure. I never saw it, but I've heard the term. Okay. May the Force be with you. Okay. Well, the Force, if you're shorting, is not with you at the moment. Okay. So yeah, it was down $6 today, but in the meantime, it continued to try to climb and find a reason to go higher. So, why do I want to trade a stock that hasn't had as much volatility as it should, and try to go against what it's already doing? So, will we remain? We'll call it 345 to 385, but really neutral. Nugget. Okay, so Nugget is broken down a little bit through our level. Okay, we thought it was 15 to 18, and it's now down. And I said last week, I was almost right, but I was wrong. Okay, almost. Do I get anything for coulda, woulda, shoulda? Okay. I said I thought we'd get back to 18. Okay, well, I got to 16.20. I will guarantee this will get a bounce at some point. But again, obviously, now this is a different story, right? Now you need more of an extended period of consolidation. If you buy it here at 14, you say, okay, I'm gambling and I don't mind. Okay. Or I think that support is going to hold and I want to try to buy the lows. Okay. It is not a good buy under any circumstances, okay, unless you have a reason. Okay. Now, the only reason I could make is if it holds the $14 level. But again, what happens is, which happens very often in these markets when things are going the wrong way, okay, is they get into a period, consolidation, they come down to support, and then they break lower. They get into consolidation, they break support, and they go lower, okay? I mean, there's no uglier chart right now. I got to show this because even though it's not part of our usual at this time of day, but I got to show this because this is why I'm not a buyer of soybeans yet. Okay, now I own some, so and I'm short some, but I mean at the end of the day, okay, the reason is because it keeps making lows. So again, I can make a claim, and I did say I thought this was the reason I was about to buy, and it continues to break. So what we see is the pattern continues to break down. So until it builds and shows you a firm potential bottom, there's no reason to buy and think that it's going to take off from there. Well, the VXX is garbage. Okay, I'm just going a little out of character chops, but I want to cover this too because this is garbage. Okay, again, it's okay for a day trade, but this never goes up. Okay, because it's like a big option. Remember, these leveraged garbage are garbage. Okay, all right. Anyway, back to work. NVIDIA, November Victor Delta Alpha. So we thought that 175. Look at what happened. Looky what happened. 175, and it bounced right back to 180. Now again, I'm certainly not bragging about a $4 move or a $5 move on a $175 stock. Okay, but now, okay, what we have to see now is can it break out from here? But I think 175 is pretty solid. Will they get earnings this week? Next week. I think 175 is pretty solid. I think it showed a lot of tenacity coming down this morning and then popping right back again. Chip stocks and these stocks have had some trouble, especially with China. Nugget is ugly. Maybe if you want to gamble, you can buy it at 14. Otherwise, we're going to let it consolidate. Again, 175 looks pretty solid to me. Okay, I would have no problem being a buyer at 175. I do own it already, but 175 to probably 195 still. Yes, there's a little bit of headway at 180, and we'll see what goes from there. Overstock. This is very similar to Nugget. Okay, makes consolidation, traps us in, says, oh, we should buy it, down, makes consolidation. Now again, I am concerned. I own this. I'm not getting out, but I'm hedged this time, chops. It's not like AMP. I'm not getting out. Okay, but again, to me, this was like what I said about gold last night. Okay, why was not gold spiking higher? Okay, why isn't this going up? I mean, cryptocurrencies have gone up 50%. And this is a big base of cryptocurrency. I can't figure out why. So to me, that tells me there's more problems here. In the meantime, we're not going to give a trade on it. It looks like 13, that area is trying to hold. Okay. In the meantime, again, I own it myself, but I am not recommending it today. The Qs, Quebec, Quebec, Quebec. Well, I think this might be a Guinness Book of World Records for us. But we're going to stay neutral. Again, I don't see any reason to get in this either unless I'm going to buy it, and I'm certainly not going to buy it. I like the action now. I mean, I could use it to go personally, and many of you could use this to go below 187. It would be very good for us. But again, there's no reason to short this. I thought it was going to do exactly what it was going to do. It's kind of consolidate, and I would expect to see more of it. I do think that we will eventually be. I think our next trade here will be a short, but right now I don't see anything to do. I'm going to be neutral. Roku, and they have earnings this week. I know. I looked at earnings, so I couldn't find them. Okay. Roku sell at 70. Right now, the earnings are Wednesday after the market. So this is no trade. However, okay, I would be willing to be a potential seller on Thursday at 75 or a buyer at 50. Okay. If it makes that big a move, and let's just see what their expectations are. It's expected to move $10. Okay. Our options are pricing in a $10 move. So as it turns out, that puts in 75 and 55 into play. Okay. So I would be willing to trade either side. And I own this, okay? But from a trade, I would be willing to short this at 75. I'd be willing to buy more at 50. Until then, until earnings are done, I can't do anything. Now, SCO, we said last week, if you want to gamble, okay, this was a spot to gamble it. And it turned out to be okay. Again, I'll say the same thing this week, okay? You get down around 15, you want to gamble, you're firing, again, you're taking risk because, again, this is a garbage ETF as well. But certainly, if you're right, it obviously goes up. I mean, it went up 20%, right? So in the meantime, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying if you want to play short oil and you see a reason, this is the way to play. 15 would be the level that I'd look at to gamble. Make sure you put that in there. The slab, Sierra Lima Bravo. All right, so slabbed it out and broke down. Again, we talked about 42 support. So what happened? Down and then went through 42. So it went through 42. This is why we don't just put a naked order in there waiting for it to hit 42. We let the market tell us. Well, what happened? It broke down. So now what happens? Okay, what would I be calling now on this? Who knows? SCO's buy at 15 on a gamble. Who knows what I'd be saying about this beauty? Wait, or I would say look at 42 as resistance now, right? Look at 42 as resistance now. Okay, that could be, it could send it lower. Now I'm not recommending anything, but I'd be looking now to see what happens if it goes back to 42. I'm not a seller, okay? I want to watch it at 42, okay? Because that should be the first resistance. Because either this is a true breakdown, and it's going back into the 30s where it was, or it'll be a false breakdown. It'll go back in and maybe get in this consolidation, go back to 42 to 46, which is what we've been trading. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee. Again, I thought we could buy 290, and what was the low today? 289. That's pretty good on a big stock, right? Again, you want to play, you can only be a buyer. There is absolutely no sense to short these indexes yet. And believe me, I'll be the first one to tell you. And I know you hate it when I do that, but I'm looking for your protection as well. And I'm telling you, sometimes, I have to tell myself too, I have to look in the mirror once in a while. Sometimes neutral is the best. Okay? Square dance. So why wouldn't you sell negative resistance? I don't sell $15 stocks, that's why. I don't short $15 stocks. Okay? That's why that's always been my modus operandi. I don't sell those stocks. It's not worth it to me. If I'm going to sell something, I want something that's got meat on it. Does that make sense? You can sell it. I'm not telling you not to sell it. I'm just saying I don't see the profit potential. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that can move enough. I don't see it. But again, I don't have a problem. If anybody wants to do it, I have no problem with it. But I think one day you're going to walk, it'll be 18. But again, I'm not trying to scare you out of it. I just don't want to trade it myself at all. I just have the double diagonal, and I'm not looking. If anything, I'm going to take a long position and nugget eventually. The ag report has nothing to do with that's a future, and I've made it very clear that I'm holding that for an extended period of time, no matter what happens. Okay, let's not mix up what we're talking about. Okay, this is the SPY, not the S&P. Okay, this is for everybody, not for people that are involved in the futures market. Okay, you got it. So square. We thought 70 to 80. Okay, well, again, of course, we wouldn't have gotten in because it broke right down. But of course, we did say out of this pattern, which we showed you earlier today, that it would break. It had a chance to make a big move one way or the other. We said either 70 or 80 was our call. Well, it went down to 64, 65. So now it's back at 70. So now the real question here is what happens now? Does it come back into consolidation? Was this a false breakdown, or is this a spot of resistance? I don't have the answer. Okay, I have to watch and wait now, because I don't have an answer to whether or not it's good. It certainly broke down. It certainly had some wild action over the years. So for right now, it's easier to watch it and try to figure it out and get a good solid pattern versus saying, okay, it's back in or it's back out. Again, to me, you're flipping a coin. I don't like to flip coins. STZ, Sierra Tango Zulu. Okay, now we do have a pattern we can actually look at now. It has resolved the blow off to the upside by consolidating. So again, now I look at this and I go, okay, I could say I could be a buyer at 207, 208. Okay, and I wouldn't be uncomfortable with that. But again, I have to ask you and ask myself the question. Right now, it does look like it wants to go higher, right? I mean, obviously we've had blow off consolidation. So is there another blow off coming the upside? Based on the history, I'd have to assume that might be possible. But when I go into a trade thinking that I can only make 2-3% on the stock, is that really the trade that I want to make? Okay, and I want to really sit back and wait until I have a better read. I mean, I would be more comfortable selling this now at 215 or 214 because I can see it going back to 195 or 190 or all the way back to 180. Right now, I can't see above the upper end here. So I'd rather be a seller than a buyer, although it looks good. So I think it's best to be neutral, but I'd look more carefully at selling at 215 than I'd look at buying at 207 or 208. Sierra Whiskey Kilo Sierra. Okay. Look at 86 after earnings, and of course it broke down through earnings, came down to 84 and held. Okay. I think 86 looks okay. I mean, now on the other side of the cheek, again, this is not exactly the most bullish looking angle to look at. So I'm not really ready to sell yet. I would say, if I want to be a seller, I'd look at 92 potentially. I'll make this 86 to 92, but I'm going to lean to the neutral experience. I'd like to see a little more of this market play out before we get too aggressive with some of these. Of course, TBT, we don't do anything anymore because there's nothing for us to do. It is at the bottom end of the range, but again, who can fight the bonds right now? Tesla, Tango, Sierra, Lima, Alpha. Okay, so we thought, that it's 270 was in lower level. I said if you were very aggressive, look at 250. No, it did get through 250. It's at 255. I think 270 is good. Okay, I'd love to sell it. I think it's going lower. And I also did say, for those of you who had to get in, you could look down around the 230 level, and you might get a rally. And you did get a 10% move off the bottom. Again, I'm not taking credit for it because this is really no different than the pattern that's in Nugget. It's no different than the pattern that's in Overstock. It's a pattern that looks like it wants to go lower. So in this stock, I don't mind shorting it. Why? Because it's not a $13 stock. It's not a $15 stock. It's 270 when I'm going to short it. So I'm happy because here I can make a lot of money in a short period of time. And if I'm dead right, I can make a lot more money. Does that make sense? Twilio, Tango Whiskey Lima Oscar. Okay, so we call it neutral on earnings. So now we're back in, and we're really just in this same 125 to basically 135. 125, 135. I mean, most of you own it who have it. Certainly, I would have no problem taking a short position, but you're already short probably based on it hedged. And I'd have no problem buying it at 125. I trade either side of this. When? Whiskey Yankee November. I call it neutral. Again, you can look at 140 now. This is very similar to the Las Vegas Sands. 140, looks like about 140 to 150. X. I said this very clearly, if you want to gamble, I'd go long into earnings. Okay, now you had a chance. Again, look, this is a 10% winner. It's not like you hit the lottery. Okay, but again, to me, this is, and this, by the way, this chart is no different than the other pieces of garbage either. Okay, Overstock, Tesla, Nugget. Okay, it's breaking down. But again, certain points you will get some sort of a dead cat bounce or whatever, and here it is. So now let's see what happens from here. To me, this is a must hold at 16. I mean, I own this, unfortunately, but I do own it, and I keep buying more shares every time it goes down, right? Because I keep rolling it down. But at the end of the day, we'll see. Now, this could be the ultimate bottom. It could have been a blow-off ultimate bottom. We'll see. Okay. Again, it was purely a gamble trade, which did pay off if you took it, and if you didn't take it, again, I'm not always I'm an advocate of gambling occasionally, but not every day. XBI, X-ray Bravo India. Okay. So I think 88. Again, I have no problem with selling this at 88. That's our level. I think it's 82 to 88. Okay. Basically, would trade either side, but we preferably like to sell the 88. And of course, one of our other garbage gambling stocks is Exron, XON, X-ray Oscar November. Held 4, popped up a little bit again. This is just you're just playing, you know. I would say this: if it gets back to 4, you want to gamble on the earnings, I'd take a shot at it. Okay. And then of course I have to cover grains real quick. Oh, mercy, mercy me. So corn, I said today on RFD, I thought corn made a bottom today. I thought this was a solid bottom. Now I'm assuming it's going to open lower tonight, which I will be a buyer. I was a buyer last night. I'll be a buyer tonight. Okay. I think the lows are now, and I think this was the final culmination. The ability to hold within here, to me, looked pretty bullish. Soybeans, again, there's no action in me in soybeans. Again, I like soybeans. I'd like to buy them. I'd like to buy a lot of them. But I've learned one lesson in my life, and until they stop making lows every day, I got to wait. Okay? I can't pick the bottom or the top. I got to wait. I got to wait till it says it's time. Apparently, it's not time yet, because I did think the bottom was here. I did think the bottom was here, and now I think the bottom is here. So again, if I keep buying those, I'll be pushing a shopping cart pretty soon. Wheat, I do believe also bottom. Okay. Again, that was a pretty good hold, and it was not tortured, and actually was up on the day for a while today. So we'll see what that looks like. And I think both fats and feeders have also both either bottomed or very near. This is not the right chart for feeders. Not that it's any better or worse, but really we're trading August. Yeah, again, this is one I think the bottoms are in, but you have to wait until the bottoms stop, right? It's got to build some sideways action before getting in here. And the same in the fats. Okay, these are down now 11 days in a row. You know there's going to be a dead cat bounce. So, Microsoft, MSFT. I mean, it looks fine. I mean, it just keeps going higher. You know, Microsoft made a dramatic recovery in their company, and they're just a powerhouse. You know, again, if I'm going to trade it, I'd be buying it at 125. Okay. You know what? We all learned the same tough, hard lesson. Believe me, I've learned it many times. I still learn it once in a while today. I'm better when I'm talking about it than when I'm actually always. I practice it more than most, but there are times I do. I play in places I get my hands slapped. Okay, or I get my ass kicked, as they say. Yeah, Aaron Morale, any thoughts on the chart? Yeah, I know I own the stock. I bought it last earnings when it got cratered. I don't care. I mean, again, if I were going to trade the earnings, I'd be a buyer. I'd be long. I'm already long. Okay. Again, only because it's been coming down, so they're pricing in bad news. So again, maybe it'll be worse. Again, it's probably got a fairly big move priced in, I would guess. Yeah, $8, 10%, 9%. So again, that's what I would see. So in the meantime, bottom line, we want to remain patient. We want to remain calm. There's no sense to be overly aggressive here, because really all you are is churning dollars. Okay. So let's be patient enough. Again, I have enough communication with everybody that you get where I'm thinking all the time. You catch something, great. Okay. You know, your CGC, you like that, great. You want to sell something, you sold Bubba at 91, great. But again, overall in general, we want to be more patient, because we don't want to put ourselves in jeopardy, because jeopardy loses money. And I know nobody wants to lose money, right? Okay. So let's keep creating and treating it like a business instead of creating it like a casino. Okay. And saying, okay, we know better here. You know, it's come up black 72 times in a row. It's got to be red the next time. Let me go broke. And I'll tell you one quick story, because this is worth noting. Okay. 25 years ago, or longer, maybe 30 years ago, we went to Vegas, and my buddy said he had a system on the big wheel. Okay. And you would bet the one, and one's 40% or 45%. Okay. And he would keep pressing. At the end of the day, Two of my buddies both lost all their money on the first day they were there. And you know what the funny thing they were trying to make? They were trying to make $1. Okay? It never fails. Well, it failed them that time. And that's why if you continue to grind yourself out and grind yourself and grind yourself out, you end up losing it. All right, everybody. What about IBM? Well, again, I'll look at it real quick, but I mean, I don't typically trade it. It's more of a pig. I mean, I trade it. Okay, I like the stock, but it just doesn't go anywhere. They have different, yeah, it'll open time. Yeah, look, it's at support. It actually had, I think it closed up on today. Is that right? Yeah, it closed up on today. Pretty good. I mean, again, if you own it or want to buy it, I have no problem with it. I don't trade it. It's all good. All right, kids. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much. I appreciate it all. And we'll see you, some of you tomorrow, and some of you Wednesday, and then Saturday, and Sunday, and not Sunday, but Monday. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.